I did an open house and I was sending out the letters about open house and they were coming in. The neighbors were coming in with their letters. And I actually am getting a listing this spring with a house that's like 700,000 just from that. And they want to buy. So now I'm circle marketing.
Turned into a 3-part deal.
Yes, absolutely.
Welcome back to Grounds for Success with Espresso Agent, where we give you the tools to become the neighborhood expert. And today I'm just super giddy because one of my dear friends and colleagues in Kentucky is Mary Layton. She is coming on the call today to talk to us about different things in her business that's worked. And I'm super excited to have her on here today. Mary, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Shauna. How about yourself? We got a little sunshine here today, so I'm happy.
Really? I don't think we don't have much here. So maybe just wish it my way a little bit. Yeah. So other than that, great. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
So, okay. You're a broker in Kentucky. Do you also have a team?
So I do, but my team is really my husband and myself. So I had a bigger team and just discovered it was much harder to do that than just to have a small team. So I just cut back to where it was just the two of us. So that works a lot better for me. Yes.
Yeah. A lot less stressful. Yeah, for sure. Yes. You know, I love SEAL teams and small teams. I think it's like the best thing ever. So yeah. So I know you built your business a little bit less traditionally than most other people. So I would love to hear, like, you know, how long have you been in the business? Where were you when you started? And then like kind of how has your business evolved from there to today?
Okay, sure. I'm like the most unconventional person you've ever seen. So I'm actually one of those rare people that has a 4-year degree in real estate. So I actually studied that in college. And I worked at a savings and loan and did mortgage loans while I was there, while I was going to school. So I worked 40 hours a week and went to night school full time to get my degree. I was young and married. And so I did that. I took the appraiser's exam and missed it by 1 point, and I was going to have to retake the entire thing. So I decided not to do it. I figured I had enough just expertise from doing that. So I did go back and do that. But I went from there and decided then to get my real estate license after my kids were born and they were small. And I didn't want to leave them so much. And my parents were starting to retire so they could do a little bit of babysitting for me. So it was at that point I got my license. That was 30 years ago. So I'm going into my 31st year now. So I took that time to learn and really hone my craft, because just because you have a degree in real estate, just like you go to real estate school, you don't know anything. You know nothing other than what they teach you. So I learned over the years. I started at a Coldwell Banker franchise and, you know, just worked my way up. Basically at that time, they were saying, here's a phone, here's the phone book, good luck. And that was pretty much
phone book. What? Like, what's a phone book?
I know, I'm dating myself, but pretty much that's how I got started. And then just got better and computers came in. And I mean, I'm at a time when we had the actual books that you got every 2 weeks. They were always outdated by the time you got them. We had to go pick up keys. We had to verbally talk things out and then go meet people and have them sign off on it, which is not a bad thing, by the way. But all those were things that we had to do. So it took a lot of time for all that stuff. And I don't think realtors today realize how much time saving things that we do have, but
we're all still so busy that we can't answer our phones or like emails or anything.
Exactly. So then I took that and kind of catapulted up for a RE/MAX. I worked at a RE/MAX with a team in 1998, which was not the norm. Very successful 4-person team. But as anything else, it's only as successful as the 4 people that are in it can get along. So that kind of fell by the wayside. I stayed by myself at RE/MAX for a year or two, and then I was asked to train agents for a local brokerage. And that particular brokerage also was owned by a builder that's one of the largest builders in the country. So I trained agents for a while, and then they said, hey, would you come on the sales team? And I did, and I worked my way up where I was 5 years straight. I was the top salesperson for this company. So that's, you know, when I kind of got a little bit restless and tired of it all. And I worked every single weekend and said, hey, I think I want to start my own brokerage and I want to give brokers or give agents what they're looking for, which is some really good training and be a there to be their advisor and help them through all of this. So that's when I decided to leave and open up my brokerage. So I've been here for like 3 years now. So I'm starting my fourth year. I've increased every year, and this last year we were up 42% over last year, and I don't have any more agents than I did the year before. So
Wow. In a
just
downturn market.
I'm sorry.
In a downturn market.
In a downturn market, and all of us were up this year from last year. So yeah, I'm very proud of that because yes, 2024 was not the best year, obviously. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's
so that's
definitely
how
something to
that
be proud
started.
about. So you've been kind of through, I mean, with 30 years, first of all, your knowledge that you have is probably, I mean, far surpasses me. I've been in the business 10 years, 7 of those full time. But, you've kind of seen every single market that's out there. So, like, why do you think, or what can you accredit to make yourself as successful as you have been over 30 years with the different changing of markets? I mean, you went through the crash of 2008, you have COVID,
Mhm.
pre-COVID, post-COVID, every different type of election. Tell me why you think your business has kind of withstood the test of time in different markets.
Well, because I will share with everybody that I'm one of these people that December 31st, I like have a panic attack every year. It's like, where's the business going to come from next
Yeah.
year?
Yeah.
Even though I have business always going into the new year, it still always panics me every year. And then I have to remind myself to look back, and I've done this for 30 years and
Yes.
I've always had the business. So what I can say is I'll never give up. I will never get up. Giving up is not an option. I will not, give up. I just won't. And so I think you have to have that determination. If you get down easily, it's tough because
Yeah.
you can get kicked in the teeth 10 times a day. But I know that tomorrow is a new day
That's
and
right.
there will be something good that comes my way. And
Yeah.
so absolutely, that's the way you have to look at it. You can't
Yeah.
and
Get
I did
grit.
fine in 2008, when the market kind of crashed. I did great, actually. So I just think you have to be determined to stick it out.
Yeah. I think one thing that I mean, now mind you, I've been in this a short amount of time compared to you, but like one thing I've noticed is it all depends on your mindset and how you
Yes.
approach things. Because here's the thing is nothing's going to go perfect. So there's
Mm.
always going to be an election. There's always going to be something going on in the world. There's always going to be uncertainty in our lives, right? But there are certain people who always rise to the top and certain people who, I mean, they kind of get aside or they get out. And to me, I can only credit that to having a good mindset because you can't control the outside things, but you can control what you're doing every day,
This is
right?
absolutely true. That's
Yeah.
absolutely true. You have to do your own thing. And I've learned that the longer I've been in it, I just shut out all the noise from the
Yes.
outside and I have to do me and you have to do you.
Yeah.
And I never really feel threatened by even agents in my own market because I'm me. And
Yeah.
you couldn't be me if you tried, and I couldn't be you if I tried.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
I don't worry too much about that stuff.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. What do you think you did early? Is there like any advice you could give agents that, if you could go back and turn back time, like something that you may have done or a lesson that you've learned that you would love other people to avoid, just kind of like, things that you did maybe you shouldn't have done or just lessons learned that you think agents can learn from?
Uh, I've had plenty of sleepless nights, as I'm going to guess you have. If you've sold a lot of real estate in your life, you've had plenty of sleepless nights over things you're like, oh man, that wasn't done quite right. And I sure hope it doesn't come back to get me in the butt. But,
Yeah.
those things happen and you learn from them. And I promise you,
Mhm.
we'll never do those things
Yes.
again once you learn. And you're like, but you just have to, sometimes you just have to admit you made a mistake. And I've had to do that before to people. I'll be honest, I've bought refrigerators, I've
Yeah. Oh yeah.
paid for parts of HVACs, I've bought home warranties, you name it, I've probably done it
Yeah.
over the years. But I think the biggest thing is just to slow down, take your time, make sure you have a checklist and that you follow it completely to the end. Don't try to wing it because that's when you forget things and you make mistakes. And like we learned this past week at the Tom Ferry conference, it's, make it fun for somebody. Make it easy so they feel like they're hitting the Staples easy button. And
Yeah.
then they'll remember you.
Yeah.
So try to have fun with it. If you can't have fun with it, it will eat you up because
Yeah.
it's a tough business.
Well, I think energy is contagious.
Hmm.
And I have one, her mom's actually an agent on my team now and a friend of mine, but she originally referred her daughter to me for a rental. And I started talking to her and it was like, well, why don't you just look at like buying? Like you have, everything checks all the boxes. And what's interesting is her mom had told me, aside from her, after the transaction was done, that she was like, I didn't even know what I was buying. I was just so excited because Shauna was excited. And so she's like, I bought a new house and, we're so happy and it was a great buy. But, we didn't even we were just like, yeah, whatever she says, it was just my energy that kind of made her think the impossible was possible, which I love. But you talked about checklists, which is great because you and I both know if you have to leave it up here for your checklist, you're going to mess it up. Nothing's going to be consistent. So talking about that, it helps you stay on top of your business. So maybe talk a little bit about like how you use that in your business to stay on top of things like your leads and your pipeline and, anything that in your business and makes it easier.
Yeah, if I don't use a checklist, I won't be able to keep up with people. I've got too many balls in the air, and it's too difficult to do that. My husband says I do great. He doesn't know how I do it, even with the things I do remember. But at some point in time, you're going to miss something. So
Yeah.
I have pre-printed checklists on things, and I call people up and I talk to them about those, and I'm like, have you done this? Is this what you want to do? Do you want to do this? And just make sure I'm checking things off as I go. It's important to have, a complete feed of all your emails and print them out and put them in your file when you're finished so that you've got that to go back to if anything ever comes back at you, that you can prove that you talked to them or you mentioned it or you ask. So it will keep you out of trouble. It would also give you some comfort at night. You're not going to wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh, I forgot to tell them that they need to do their termite inspection and they only have 2 more days to get it done. And how are we going to do this? And then you're laying awake for hours like, I've got to get in touch with these people. And you stress out about it because then they think you forgot them, which you did.
Yeah.
And it's just so important that you follow those and you keep them with you. I like to either have a notebook or even just a yellow pad, just to, hey, I need to call so and so today and check on this. And then I always keep the files on my desk, so I'm sure to have them close by,
Like top of mind. Yeah.
top of mind.
But you're right. When you get so many balls up in the air, which I mean, most successful people do because you're trying to learn and do so many things in your business and expand and, all of that stuff and scale, it does make it hard. So you got in and you said you worked with a builder and you did a lot of transactions with them for years. So tell us, how does one go about trying to get in with the builder? Because I know a lot of people ask that question. I see it on the forums all the time is, there's a difference between doing new builds and actually working for a builder, like a custom builder or, whatever. Tell us a little bit about that
Right.
experience. How did you get it? And how does somebody else kind of get into that situation?
It's kind of tough. I actually fell into it because they needed somebody in an area that I knew very well. And so I kind of fell into that. But I would say if you want to do it, you need to identify a builder that you would like to work with. Now, I was not an inside sales agent, which is a totally different thing if you do inside sales.
That's like sitting in like a
A lot
model
of them
home where people come to you. Like, yeah,
correct, and a lot of them are, but I was not. So I would go in and talk to them. I would have a resume. I would say I'd like to interview. And even if they say I'm not, hiring anybody right now for the team, say, but I would like to go ahead and interview. And then if you have an opening, to keep me in mind, and you need to keep up with them. You need to, email them and try to set it up. You need to thank them when you're done, and you need to put it in your calendar to keep reaching out to them because I will guarantee you that most people don't do that. They won't keep up and keep
yeah,
asking and keep asking and you've got to keep asking. It's like a for sale by owner or expired. You just have to keep asking. You
yeah,
can't let it go to chance. But I would say just being really personable, having very good communication skills is really important. Um, and oddly enough, so I always thought of, and maybe you do too, but when I worked for the builder, the other agents were also my clients because I made money if they brought their clients to me. I was the listing agent for anything that their people bought. So to me, I had two sets of clients. I had clients that were mine, and then I had clients that were agents, and I had a ton of agents that would reach out to me. So that's something to look at as well. You need to get you a really good base of agents. So if you do manage to get your foot in the door, you need to be able to go to those agents and say, hey, I'm doing this now. If you have anybody that wants to buy XYZ homes, please feel free to come and talk to me. Most of them now, if they have multiple areas, you don't have to stick to the agent that works in that area. Most of the time, you can go to whichever one you want to go to that represents in that area. So, it's just a different way of thinking about things. Yeah, and I would keep 100 sales going at a time. So if you were not organized, it was almost impossible to keep it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can imagine. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 So if I'm hearing you right, it's really about building the relationship.
It is. It's a relationship thing. It's just like your client. You got to treat them like they're a client because they are.
Mm-hmm.
That builder, that person you want to hire you as a client. So you've got to show them and prove to them that you're going to take good care of them and the people that want to buy their homes as well. So
Yeah.
it's kind of important. And I would research them. I would know what I was talking about before I went in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's a great idea. Yeah.
if you've got the new home designation, that's a good place to start so that you understand what you're looking at and talking to people about. I did do that before I did go in, so that helped a lot. But then the fact that I'd been in lending and everything helped me more than probably anything. I just had such a diverse background in all of it that it just
Yeah.
pulled it all together.
So you worked a lot with builders and that's how you kind of kept your business going, which I love. And then you kind of pivoted to relocation. So tell
Mhm.
me a little bit about why you made that change and what that's like. And again, if somebody else is looking to get kind of in that niche, how do they go about doing that?
So you have to get in with some of these big relocation companies, and there's a lot of them. There's Grable, there's Weicker, there's Ayers, there is a whole host of them, and you can look those up. And then I would reach out to them and say, "Hey, I would like to do this." Now you have to know how to do an ERC form, which is an employee relocation form. So it's very much like a small mini appraisal or market analysis of a
Mhm.
home. You've got to, if you're going to list. If you're going to sell, you just need to obviously know the market that you're in. But that's how I kind of started. I kind of liked helping people solve their problems of moving and buying and all this at the same time, and working with those relocation companies because I did so many, and now I do probably about 30 of those a year.
Wow.
Um, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
But I know exactly what I'm talking about. And when somebody asks me a question, I can answer it. But it's reading their forms. It's learning what the time frames are. It's putting in your phone or somewhere that you have to give them an update every 2 weeks on what's going on
Yeah.
with the client. It's keeping in touch with them when they're having a panic attack because the movers can't move them on the 10th and they're closing on the 9th, or it's just, it gets a little bit crazy, and
Yeah.
you have to have the mindset to be able to bring people back down off the ledge and to calm them and to say it's going to be okay. Let's work with the buyers, let's work with the sellers, let's work with the relocation companies so that it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would reach out. I would get some names of some of those relocation companies and just reach out to them and ask them what the possibilities are.
Yeah. I love that. Do you have a direct communication line to them where they just, because I think, doesn't it normally go into a pool of different agents, or do they just call you directly and say, hey, we have this person moving from this market to this market and we want you to help us? How does that work?
So the company that I have the franchise for actually is one of the leading members of leading real estate companies of the world. And through that, they get a lot of relocation people, meaning like Amazon people moving,
Mhm.
or Purdue or any of these big companies, when they have people moving around, they get calls from these companies. Now, on a listing, they have two people come out and do a market analysis of the homes, and then they choose from those two. And you and I have talked a lot in depth about those. And then for a buyer, sometimes they'll get a couple of choices, and sometimes they'll just assign someone. And unless you don't get along with them, that's the person that you're going to be working with to help you find your new home. So,
is it specific to one brokerage, or can agents be from different brokerages and work and be an affiliate? I don't know what you call them, but an agent that works
yeah,
for these relocation companies.
yeah, you actually can. I don't think there's anything. I think they shy away more from like the Remaxes and the Coldwell Bankers, not just because they're more of a franchise, a national franchise, but that isn't always the case. And don't listen to people if they say, well, they've told me that I have to work with an agent that they provide me. Most of the time, if your seller goes to them and says, I want to work with this agent, they will let you do that. Now, you're going to be
Especially if you
paying a
have a
large
preset
percentage. Yes,
relationship with them.
it is. Yes. So you're going to pay anywhere from 35% to 42% for that. But you do not have to go searching them out. They're going to come find you. And honestly, if you can list their house and sell it in a couple of days, it is worth it. At least I have found it to be worth
Yeah.
it for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know a lot of people look at that big hefty referral fee on the back end, and to them I say, it depends on your business and what you can afford to do. But I will tell you, if you're able to take, let's say you get a listing from a relocation company, they're going to take 42% of your compensation or whatever it is. If you can leverage that and get more business, through the open houses, marketing that property, those kinds of things, then it's totally worth it. Because again, you didn't have to go out and physically find something. They sent them to you. You just did your magic. You went and did the market analysis, built that rapport. They hired you. And if you can leverage that to get, 2 or 3 more deals, which, is ultimately the goal, then it's well worth it to be a part of those. That you could take those, you said you did 20 something deals from them this year, 30 or whatever. You could do that. And if you get 2 or 3 more deals out of it, that's almost 100 deals.
It is. So it is well worth it. Now, that should not be your only pillar. Yes. You need other pillars. But I think it's a good pillar because I don't want to say it's low hanging fruit because you have to do your work on it, but
it kind of is.
I'm thinking about one where I did an open house for one. I got it sold really quick, but I did an open house and I was sending out the letters about open house and they were coming in. The neighbors were coming in with their letters. And I actually am getting a listing this spring with a house that's like $700,000 just from that, and they want to buy. So now
so that listing turned into a 3-part deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well worth it then. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just real estate math, people. That works. That's real estate math. Yeah.
Yeah. So real estate math is a little different than regular math, but you have to kind of look at the big picture. If you just look at it and say, I'm giving them 42%, that's just not fair. If you can get 3 more deals out of it, it absolutely is, because you're not going to pay anything on those other 3 deals. So you have more than made your money.
That's right. Yeah. It's more than worth it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I could just talk to you forever. I know that you just have so much insight into this industry because you've been doing this for 30 years. I mean, man, if somebody wanted to pick your brain and they wanted to get in touch with you, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, easy enough. My email address is mary.layton@talktotucker.com. So my company is FC Tucker. Or they can call me at 859-661-5103, and I'll be happy to talk with them and schedule a time that, we can get together and get on a Zoom or chat on the phone, and I'll be happy to help anybody.
Yeah. I will tell you, Mary and I met through the Tom Ferry ecosystem. And I mean, that's like the best ecosystem in the world, but I adore Mary and she is so good at, if you have a question, she texted me the other day saying, hey, let me know if you want me to break this down for you and go over it. Like, she's good people to know. Don't take up all of her time because, I'm needy too and I need her too. But if you want to do any of these type of lead sources, talking about running a team, having a brokerage, any of that, Mary has a lot of insight to that. And I know she would be more than happy to share. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much. I love that you came on the call. Hey, you guys, if you're looking to get more listing leads, you need to check out listingleads.com and then use code Espresso Agent to get 50% off your first month. It is hands down one of the best lead sources out there to get more business from listings, along with Espresso Agent, which is the best resource to get those off-market leads and other types of listing leads. But listingleads.com, definitely check it out. Use that promo code Espresso Agent and happy dialing.